welcome to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera and today I'm going to be reviewing a book called Treasure Island. It was written by Scottish author Robert Louis Stevenson and published in 1883. This is an adventure novel that can also qualify as a children's classic and an English classic that deals with Buccaneers and buried gold. Anyways, before I begin, let me just say that this will be a spoiler-free video so you can sit back and enjoy. Okay, so I first read Treasure Island over a decade ago when I was a teenager, and I read it for two reasons. Because ever since I was 14, I've been devouring as many English classics as I can, but also because when I was a teenager growing up, I totally fell in love with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and my passion for them led me to seek out other stories about pirates. Anyways, I remember that in my high school's library there weren't that many English classics, but Treasure Island was one of the ones that they did have. So that's the copy that I remember first reading. And also there have been several adaptations of Treasure Island over the years, but I've only seen one. Disney's Treasure Planet, which tells basically the same story but it's set in space. And while it's never been one of my favorite Disney films, I did enjoy it when I was growing up. It's very imaginative and fun, and I rewatched it before I made this video. But yeah, over the summer of 2019, my interest for Pirates of the Caribbean movies grew again, and so I watched them, I fell in love with them all over again, and that led me to seek out as many English classics about pirates as I could, and I decided to reread Treasure Island, and so here we are. This is the story of Jim Hawkins, an English boy who lives at an inn his parents run by the seaside. One day, a mysterious stranger comes to stay at the inn, and Jim little guesses how this man is going to change his life, because before he knows it, events take place that see him getting on board a ship that's sailing to Treasure Island, a place that's rumored to hold the treasure of the famous and infamous Captain Flint. Will Jim find it? I won't tell you, but what I will say is that along the way Jim will meet many memorable characters, such as Long John Silver, Ben Gunn, and more. Some of them Jim will trust, and others he will learn not to, seeing as his life and that of his friends depend on it. I give Treasure Island a 4.5 out of 5 stars review because while it's very well written and it's a very good plot, and I did enjoy it and the writing style is pretty amazing as well, I unfortunately didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I mean, I don't think that it's because it's a coming-of-age story aimed at a younger audience, but I got the impression that everything was happening really quickly. Whereas I wanted to savor every chapter, but before I got the chance to do that, boom, we were off to another chapter. Still, as I said, the plot is fantastic, and I can see why its appeal hasn't lessened over the centuries. Particularly because it's just so exciting to get into the protagonist's shoes and follow him as he goes on these amazing adventures. But I don't know, I guess that in a way, being so obsessed with Pirates of the Caribbean, I like to feel like that's the only acceptable version of how pirates were really like, which I know doesn't really make any sense. And I know that Pirates of the Caribbean actually took inspiration from Treasure Island for a lot of the pirates lore that's presented on them. But yeah, anyways, before I wrap up my review, I want to say that I did really like the character of Jim Hawkins, the protagonist, as well as Long John Silver. And I also enjoyed the fact that earlier this year I had read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by the same author, Robert Louis Stevenson. And so it was really interesting as a reading experience to compare the writer's writing, his imagination, the tone he took between these two very different books. Anyways, I hope to one day see the 1990 TV movie of Treasure Island because it has a great cast. Charlton Heston, Christian Bale, Christopher Lee, Oliver Reed, Julian Glover, James Cosmo, and more. But yeah, for the moment I believe that this is all I have to say about my review for Treasure Island. Thank you so much for watching it. Please let me know if you enjoyed it or not, as well as what are your own thoughts about this story, because I would love to talk about it with you. In the description box below you can find a link to the book's Goodreads page. And well, yeah, I'm Caro Herrera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're in the world. I'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye.